Hey everyone, it's Go-Getter Michelle, and today we're talking about overcoming imposter syndrome. This is actually part 2. The first video was about how to get out of a funk, which I'll link in the description below, and the two really go hand in hand. A lot of the time, if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, you may kind of feel like you're in a funk. So in this video, I'll be referencing some things from the How to Get Out of a Funk video, but if you're ready to get into it, let's go ahead. So the definition of imposter syndrome is when you have legitimate accomplishments, but you doubt yourself or feel like a fraud despite those accomplishments. So you might attribute them to more external factors than your own abilities. There's a really awesome TED video about this. I'll link it in the description below. But another important thing to note about imposter syndrome is that it's often internalized, so you don't tell people about it or talk about it, and it's also persistent. So once I looked into this, I realized I don't think I was experiencing imposter syndrome per se, or that I am experiencing imposter syndrome, but I'm experiencing something similar, but in a very different way. So imposter syndrome says, I have these accomplishments and yet I still don't kind of believe in myself. And what I'm personally experiencing is, how could I possibly insert accomplishment here, or who am I to insert accomplishment here? So I guess both imposter syndrome or the who am I to accomplish this syndrome, I don't know exactly how you define that. If you know, please leave a comment below. But both of those have a big theme of self-doubt. And so I want to go through some practical tips of how you can overcome both of these things. So first, I want to address the issue of imposter syndrome. And similarly to changing your mindset, this is not something that you'll typically be able to fix overnight, but we can take small steps daily or when the feeling is welling up more strongly so you can move past it. So the first tip is just to talk about it. A lot of people experience this syndrome, and even though I don't think this is exactly what I'm experiencing, even just talking about it on camera and letting other people know about it to normalize it can really help. Another thing you can do is remind yourself of positive feedback. So besides your actual accomplishments, whether that's getting good grades, getting into a school, getting a job, excelling at a project, whatever that may be, think also about the people who have encouraged you along the way, because those personal connections and other people believing in you can help remind you of why you should believe in yourself and know that you're not an imposter. And lastly, remind yourself that many other people feel the same way, which I kind of already addressed when you talk to other people about it, because you'll probably figure out from talking to other people that they do feel the same way. And this last tip, I think, is something that can be applied to imposter syndrome and also what I call the who am I to have this accomplishment syndrome. And it's having a learning mindset versus a performance mindset, or it's better known as a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. So in a growth mindset, you're willing to take on new challenges and you're also willing to fail, knowing that you're going to learn from that failure. And I've heard of the theory of fixed or growth mindset before, but reframing it in the perspective of a learning mindset versus a performing mindset really hit home for me, because even though I like to think it's not that I'm good or I'm not, I'm learning and growing continually, I tend to very much care about what I can achieve, how productive I am, how I'm performing, what the metrics are, and that's not always, it's not always, it just isn't a learning mindset. Okay, moving on to what I'm personally struggling with, the how could I possibly achieve this, or who am I to achieve whatever it is, whether that's a YouTube channel, starting your own business, getting a new job, making the dean's list. A lot of people have self-doubt, and I want to encourage you that you can accomplish those things. And I'm saying that for myself too. I need that reminder. So the main tip I have for this is a little bit more motivational than specific steps of talking to someone or reminding yourself of positive accomplishments. I do think the mindset shift about a growth mindset and seeing challenges as opportunities to learn is really important. But this quote from Marianne Williamson really says it all better than I could. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I? Who am I? To be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Wow. That really does say it all. So I'll post a link to that resource, that quote, if you want to print it out and just post it somewhere so you're reminded of that. I know that I need to hang up that quote, so I'm reminded of it. There's a gift inside of you that is so valuable that needs to be shared with the world, and there will be struggles, and you may continue to doubt yourself, but go back to the tips of getting yourself out of the funk and go back to reading this quote. I mean, it's amazing. You are a child of God. You're doing a disservice to the world by playing small or not working on your dreams. If I didn't make this YouTube channel at all, I would not be using some of my skills and abilities that I feel called to do, even if it's difficult in the process of learning. But having that mindset of learning really helps. When you are doubting yourself and playing small and being fearful, which the Bible calls us not to be afraid many, many times, I literally think it is Satan trying to attack. And so even if you don't have a specific mantra like I talk about in the Changing Your Mindset videos, what I'm going to start saying if I'm in a funk or if I am doubting myself and doubting that I need to keep working on these YouTube videos, even if growing is difficult, I'm just going to say, not today, Satan. That's going to be my new mantra. So I hope these tips were helpful for you guys. I know it was helpful for me when I was trying to snap out of my funk, and also as I work through overcoming some of my self-doubt that tends to creep in from time to time. No one is immune to feeling some of these negative thoughts. And if you've used some of my tips or different tips to get out of a funk, overcome imposter syndrome, please let me know in the comments. I'd really love for us to encourage one another as we start different projects, get out of a bad mindset, and just move forward with positive go-getter attitudes. And one last thing, remember that you are valuable, you are gifted, you are capable, and you make a difference. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.